between the Mexican government and these drug cartels for supremacy in Mexico. Some weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, one of the highest-ranking federal police officials in Mexico City went to his apartment, which was supposed to be totally anonymous. He was shot 8 times in the head, and the guy who shot him had the keys to his apartment. The corruption is a battle that they are in today. And I'm happy to say that I think that President Calderon, the president of Mexico, is dedicated to trying to regain control of his side of the border from the drug cartels. Now, here in New Mexico and in Arizona, standard procedure of the drug dealers, the cartels, is to send 100 or so illegals across the border, call the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol comes and rounds up the illegals, they leave, and the drug dealers come across. So this is not just the illegal immigration problem. It is these, I mean, these are it's hard to, the brutality and cruelty practiced by these people in the drug cartels is beyond our imagination. So we now have, for the first time, a plan called the Merida Initiative with the Mexican government. And we're going to spend $400 million, at least, of American dollars to try to coordinate with the Mexican government to get these drug cartels and the borders under control. And it is a national security issue. We all know that. That's why it's a federal responsibility. So let's give President Calderon a little credit, because I think for the first time, if not the first time, most serious effort is being made to combat these drug cartels and control the border on their side. How much easier would the job be of controlling our borders if we had the Mexicans seriously controlling the borders on that side, as the Canadians do? So let's give them a little credit. And finally, we'll go back at this issue. We'll go back at this issue because it's a federal responsibility, and we must do it. And I'd also like to say again what everybody in this room knows. These are God's children. These people that come here are coming for a job. They're coming for the same reason why we did. And when I see stories of a 16-year-old girl that died in the desert with a rosary around her neck, then we have an obligation, because we are a Judeo-Christian valued nation as well. And we value and cherish in this part of the country, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, we value and cherish our Hispanic heritage. But we also understand that we have to have secure borders, and we have to do it because it's a national security responsibility. Thank you. Uh-oh, a piece of paper.
I want to turn the topic back to education. I'm an associate professor here at New Mexico State University, and I'd like to ask that as No Child Left Behind is reauthorized, that gifted education be part of the mandate, because we are focusing our attention on struggling students and students with disabilities, which is critical, but we also need to focus our attention on gifted students. Gifted students can make significant contributions to our society and do many of the things that you've been talking about in science and industry. And if we deny the fact that they think differently and provide them different services through education, then they have a more difficult time accepting the fact that they are different. And without that personal acceptance, they cannot make the significant contributions that they're capable of. Here in New Mexico, they're trying to pass a new funding formula which will eliminate the add-on funding for gifted education. And if there were a national mandate for gifted education, then things like that wouldn't happen in a state like New Mexico, where alternate assessments are critical to make sure that underrepresented populations that are gifted are also served.
Thank you. Thank you. May I say that you were very gifted in your presentation, and I thank you, and I mean that. I agree with you, and I'd also make 2 additional points. First of all, we need to provide more incentives and ability for math, science, and engineering students as well, because we are falling behind in that area. Everybody knows that. We should reach a point at least where people with those specialties are able to secure a full and complete education. But I'd also like to mention one other aspect of the issue of education. 2 points. One, No Child Left Behind needs to be reauthorized. We need to learn the lessons. We don't need to discard it completely. Second thing is, a terrible thing that's happened in America recently, as I know you all know, is the rise of autism. We don't know. We don't know what causes it. There's a huge debate going on now about vaccinations, and I've read and studied and gotten briefings, and I don't know all the answers. But I do know it's a fact that autism is on a dramatic rise in the United States of America, and we've got to find the cause of it. But meanwhile, we're going to have to increase funding for special education. I mean, it's just a fact. And that's expensive. But it seems to me the kind of country we are, that should have one of our priorities along with our most gifted. So thank you. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Senator McCain, thank you for coming. First, I wanted to say that. But I wanted to ask you, there seems to be a lot of controversy about people who are voting, who shouldn't be voting, people who are not citizens of our country, citizens voting who are, under dead people's names. And also, there's a huge controversy. I watched Glenn Beck the other night, and he was talking about how many of the voting machines in the United States are not functioning properly. How can we be assured that we're even going to have an election that's going to have an accurate result?
I think it's going to be very tough. In case you missed it, they had a film on HBO about the 2000 election. I think it was called Recount, as I recall. Whatever it was really a compelling film about what happened as a result of the, quote, remember it, hanging chads? Remember that? And back and forth, and I mean, it was incredible. And I worry a lot about it, to tell you the truth, because I believe that this is going to be a close election. I believe that I'm the underdog. I believe that New Mexico will be one of those states, one of those few states, my friends, that were up late and they're saying, well, we're still waiting for New Mexico to come in to see who the next president of the United States is. So I think one way is that, I think our election boards, our local election boards, can always use volunteers and people to help out. They can always use people to be there to monitor the polls and to see that everything goes well and that all the procedures are correct. Now, I hear stories that some of these voting machines, as you have heard and I've read, and there have been various hearings in Congress about some of these machines that aren't accurate. There's only 78 days left. Who's counting? So you have motivated me again to look at this situation to see what else that we can do to make sure that there's a minimum of it. But while I'm at it, the unions, the organized labor, wants to have a procedure where a union organizer can go to a person or to someone's house and sign them up in public to be members of that union. They call it card check. I think it's a violation of the fundamental right of Americans to have a secret ballot. And I intend to fight that as hard as I can. So, yeah. Can we do one more here? Yes, ma'am.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming down here and giving me such a wonderful reason to actually skip school. So, there has been talk that there are people who want to have the voting age lowered from 18 to 16. And being a 16-year-old myself, I want to know what your opinion is on that.
I think I know yours. I think 18 is appropriate.